And set. And background.
I thought the essential thing about the wedding was to experience it as Bella would. This section of the film is not told in the same shorthand that most movies are made in these days. It takes a minute for her to get down the aisle. It's not just real time. I think you're in sort of a suspended time. I think because of the anticipation, it was possible to really settle into a different rhythm where you explore as many of those emblematic moments as possible.
Hey, what's up?
No.
With Kristen as my collaborator, as long as we could really feel everything that she's going through as she's waiting for it, and then as she walks down that aisle and as she gets to Robert, then I thought it would be a satisfying experience.
I do.
I do. The wedding, it just felt so real. And everyone was sitting in the pews. I was like, thank you for coming to my wedding. You know, it's just like, it was so cool. And I've sort of been ramping up to do that scene for like 3 years. It's a huge, elaborate sequence. There's a ton of stuff to shoot.
It's been building up and building up and building up. I think Edward's proposed to her about 50 times by now. So it'd be quite nice. At least he doesn't have to propose anymore.
We have the biggest wedding since Charles and Diana now. It's like everyone's been waiting for this thing, and that's been a fun process.
3 films have been about marry me, yes I will, when we're ready. Now the moment of truth is finally upon us.
No one.
It's an exciting day for us today. We're finally shooting the wedding.
We approached it from what will this wedding look like where it won't look like everybody else's wedding. What if it just was part of the forest?
It's kind of along the lines of Midsummer's Night Dream.
We're in the middle of the woods. It was very romantic and young and elegant.
We wanted it to be very organic, to be part of the forest.
There's no white chairs, none of that. No typical wedding.
Flowers that just seem to be floating in air. And part of it is that they had to filter the sun so that it would never hit them and they'd sparkle.
It's just branches that have come up out of the ground that are turned into benches.
This entire environment was going to just grow out of the forest. It was an enchanted moment in an enchanted place.
There's this incredible arch in white flowers. The path, it's moss with little white flowers all through it. It will be as if it's raining flowers.
We brought in tables and chairs, and then we had some wonderful tablecloths created from wildflower linens and organic branch candelabra. We had a floral designer create floral centerpieces that are ferns and moss and white flowers.
The tabletops are all sort of like moss that comes up into branches with candles, and it's pretty beautiful.
I think the scenery kind of creates this beautiful summery feeling that is kind of lots of sparkle and magic. Some in the table dressing, there's sort of sparkly things as well. You know, we tried to do something organic and yet elegant and magical.
And roll sound. Hey, only mark.
And action. Ladies and gentlemen, we are gathered here on this beautiful day to bear witness, to witness the union of Bella and Edward.
To have and to hold.
Is it for better or for worse?
For rich, for poor, I thought.
It is. It's for richer or for poor, right?
I now pronounce you husband and wife.
Stop clapping.
Yeah. Everyone leave, please. I don't know any of you people. It's really funny. Who are they?
What about shake his hand as a subtle thing go?
When a couple of people ask me to say, you got to be in this scene, we're sharing with Stephanie Meyer, the writer, Melissa Rosenberg, the screenwriter, and Wick, the other producer. How can you say no? Forever in history.
I came up especially to be in the wedding. I wanted to be a part of it, and it's incredible to be sitting there and watching it all happen.
I did think that was a great place for everyone who'd been involved in the movies to make an appearance. So they're all in the audience, and that's fun, but it wasn't until I was putting the movie together. There's this one shot where we're sweeping past Stephanie, and she's looking into the camera, and I thought, you know, that might be a moment as Bella's getting her bearings if they just glance at each other, and it felt like it, you know, it's always tricky there because you don't want to do anything that's too meta or takes you out of it. But it also felt to me like a very moving moment of just character acknowledging her creator.
What a freaking gene pool, man.
Seriously.
You've got some,
What?
And cut.
It's really exciting because when you meet the Denali clan for the first time, it's at the wedding.
That's exciting because their characters were supposed to show up earlier. I always felt like they would. Over and over again, they kind of got pushed to the next novel and pushed to the next novel. And I think we feel a little bit that way. Everyone's been ready for them.
We come in for the wedding and, you know, we make quite an appearance. I don't think humans are so used to seeing a bunch of golden-eyed vampires sitting around the table, dressed really well.
They look fantastic for the wedding. Tanya really dressed to the nines.
Oh my God, they're the gorgeous Denali sisters in great dresses.
There's like 400 people in our town, and half of us are supermodels.
Bella? A wedding is just also a chance for everybody to look great. So that was a really fun part of this.
The Denali clan started a diet to look okay for the wedding. We shot 3 months in Louisiana and New Orleans, so we've been eating a lot of fried food. Once we got here to Squamish, we're like, okay, now we have the wedding, you know. That was our goal, just to get a little bit more healthy. So we've been like working out, I've been hiking, cross-country skiing, so it's fun.
That entire Cullen family, and they're all great-looking people. I think Michael dressed them all beautifully.
The actors have been with these characters for such a long time. We sort of designed the dresses together, working out what would be appropriate for our people. We're dealing with very unique characters. They all have an interesting backstory.
Each one representing the spirit of when they lived, especially Alice.
Everything's packed and ready to go. My gown in particular, I've had a lot of say in, and we kind of created it from scratch.
With Alice's dress, we thought about the world that she came from, the 20s and the 30s. We looked at the dresses from those periods. We thought that Alice might be influenced by those fashions.
Alice is from the 1920s, and so I kind of thought it would be really fun to have that kind of inspire her look. So we created this kind of 1920-ish dress.
That period really suits Ashley so beautifully with her short hair and her fashion-forward kind of feisty look. We've given her dress a kind of sparkly quality, and then we added all the feathers down the hem because she is a great dancer, of course, and so we thought that would be great for the dancing sequence. For Esme's dress, we wanted to create something timeless, classic, very elegant that suited her character, so we found a beautiful beaded fabric. I dyed it into the sort of color tones that we were thinking of. We wanted to control all the colors really carefully for the wedding, so we kind of uses a lot of the Cullen purpley gray tones. Well, Rosalie, Nikki's a lot of fun to work with. She's got lots of great ideas, so we talked a lot about evoking the glamour of the 30s with her dress. So we looked at lots of references from old Hollywood sort of stills, and we came up with something kind of romantic and dramatic that suits her personality.
It's very elegant. I would say it's not over the top, but it accentuates very specific parts of the body.
I don't understand how fashion for guys hasn't really changed in the past 100 years.
I love my tux. I love it. It makes you feel like $1 million.
We worked with Brioni, who's an amazing Italian suit maker. I did some drawings of what I thought would be great for the boys, and they followed through and made up these beautiful suits right to the design. We thought it'd be fun to have some historical references in the suits. So I looked at suits from the 30s right through to the turn of the century. We have our velvet collar details, got a nice peak lapels. We've got different cuts. We've got, say, knee length and a hip length for the different characters. So it's a kind of nice mix of contemporary and vintage styles.
A lot of thought has gone into, in a sense, the reveal of Bella as a bride.
It is the big costume of the movie, and I did want to reveal it in stages until finally when she's seen Edward and walks down the aisle, you get the whole vision of it.
What I liked about the wedding dress is that they had ingredients to be revealed. That was not just a dress, that it had the bag that reveals the bag. It had elements that would allow us to slowly be putting pieces together.
Stephanie Meyer had lots of ideas about the wedding dress. Of course, she created it in her book. And she had always thought of Carolina Herrera as the designer of that dress.
She had very specific details that she wanted to use in this wedding gown.
Carolina Herrera is my favorite, and I really wanted the dress to be something that really special, not something that you're going to see every day, not a dress you would go and pick up at a store somewhere.
I thought an inspiration a little bit from the 20s, but it has to be for now.
Together, Stephanie and I collaborated with Carolina Herrera, and they created this beautiful white bias-cut satin dress.
The lace is especially designed for that dress, which is the extravagant detail in the back of the dress, which is a very important detail.
It's got a very dramatic back, which is kind of cut out with beautiful lace overlays. I think Stephanie wanted it to be extremely simple, not overdone.
I love what they did with it. They just came up with a really stunning concept. It's similar to what I envisioned, but then they sort of add in their own elements. It turned out beautiful.
Considering how much pressure and weight has been put on this dress, it was really scary right up until it fit perfectly.
She really loved it, I think. And so it was about something that was going to be beautiful and that would fit Kristen perfectly. And I think that's where we ultimately landed.
The most important is to please the bride because she's going to wear it. And when she tried the dress on at the end, she was very moved by it.
I think it's beautiful. I love it.
Which it was fabulous for me because I thought the job was done.
I now pronounce you husband and wife.